So we are of course COVID free and back to play, as you may well have seen in our last video. And today we have some party in store as we celebrate the 6th birthday of Brew York. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was somewhat shocked to find out it was only their 6th birthday. Guess that's just the impact they've had on the scene. It feels like they've been around forever. And to celebrate, we're going a little teetotal. No, not like that, but with a fruity tea milkshake, IPA. Breakfast being the most important meal of the day, allegedly. So, Brew York is celebrating with an epic collection of breakfast-inspired brews. And as a cuppa is usually my staple breakfast, this right here seemed like the obvious choice. That, and it does sound very close to a couple of green teas I've got that get me through the day. Using strawberry cream fruit tea leaves from Local's Hebden Tea. This promises a fruity composition with intense strawberry flavors, soft and creamy notes, and a subtle tea tannin. With the addition of lactose to really give that body some oomph and to help accentuate some of those berry notes for a comforting chai infusion. Hopped with the Mosaic T90, the Sentinel T90, the Belmar T90, and the very experimental yet absolutely adorable HBC 630. Someone really does need to give this beaut a name. All of those should combine for one hell of a cocktail. Now, I won't lie to you, we picked up this little beaut in an offie at a gig down in New Cross a couple weeks back. Actually, the very same gig where we caught the dreaded C19. So I have technically had this one before. But, well, that sure was one long weekend, and most of it is one hell of a blur. So any real memory of this brew is long gone. So for all intents and purposes, it is a brand new brew for me. The only thing I do remember is it was real tasty. So let the celebrations begin. Let's whack that kettle on, let's get a brew on the go, and let's get pouring. Oh, so it's got a lot of sweet berry notes as you'd expect. But it's actually quite surprisingly herbal on the nose. Got some real nettly vibes. And there are some real notes of green tea, some floral notes in there as well. And of course, very creamy. Almost getting a little kiwi out of it too. And it does have some real sweet, some real candy vibes to it. Of course, drinking this before, it was in a park, straight out the can, so I was getting none of these aromas. They are real beautiful. And I've really got to admit, it's that cherry and those herbally nettly notes that really take the mouth right up top. It does coat the mouth in a real floral bouquet. But those middles, they're not necessarily getting sweeter. If anything, they're starting to develop almost some medicinal note. It's more starting to feel like a Suzy than a Campino. And it's got something of a malty caramel note right in the back of the mouth too. Now, like I said, this can survive not only a gig, but a long old night bus home too. So maybe some of those sweeter notes have been beaten and battered out of it. But that said, you are getting a little of that sweetness in that finish, getting some real berry notes. Some of those creamy notes too. And it's at this time I've gotta give something of an addendum. As pouring that out, I've just spotted a little full circle down there. Did not even realize this was an actual collab, so shout out to the guys at Full Circle too. Now we are starting to pick up a few citrus notes up in those tops now. It's a little lemony, and we are picking up a little of that black tea too. Along with some more orange, some more tangerine-like notes, a subtle melon, and a little bit of creamy peach. And some of those citrus notes are starting to carry down into the middle, where there is a noticeable gooseberry note, and in that finish, there is a subtle bitterness of grapefruit, as well as some real grapey notes that are packing out the middles. And I do have to say, this one has caught me a little on the hop. It has not quite been the strawberries and cream I had been anticipating. And we are now starting to get some of those herbal and some grassy notes joining into that bitter finish. And it almost lingers with a nettly haze. And now we're down into the final third. To call this something of a surprise package would be an understatement. Although in fairness to it, I am happy to chalk it up to bad beer handling. All on my part. Although that nose does hint at what you expect to lie waiting, it's a far more different experience in the mouth, which now has me somewhat worried about the long-term side effects of COVID-19. As instead of that advertised strawberry, it was a real heavy cherry note that dominated right off the bat. And instead of being creamy, it was far more herbal, almost medicinal. Although I do have to admit, cherry notes of any kind always give me a little hint of that medicinal feel. So maybe we can just call that a personal experience. But that said, it does start to develop a whole array of fruity notes the deeper you get in. It does develop citrus notes like tangerine and orange, grapefruit and lemon, as well as some more sweeter fruits of berries and peach. But that said, it does remain ever so earthy throughout, herbally, almost woody you could say. You could definitely like it to something of a birthday surprise. Just maybe not something you are really hoping for. But of course, with any brew like this, it's always going to be a love it or hate it kind of deal. So I am more than happy to tally this one down as not being for me. Even though it sounds like it really should have been.